So that might actually be the first time we've actually had to update the game in the whole course of time of me playing it, right? I don't think I remember that happening because mostly the game hasn't had like active support of new stuff. It almost makes me scared that something might not work. Does that mean actually a new expansion has come out, or is just probably some cosmetic basic fix or bug fixes? I mean, stuff like that. Yeah, last time Captain, this actually gives me a proper time to do an intro instead of just doing, like I always do that in Magic where if the new expansion is downloading and I forgot that it was even coming out that week, you can just turn that into the intro instead of just doing it on the main title screen of the game. But last time Captain Combustible did pretty good, so it's like the plants are finally living up to how much of an advantage they've had in the series with they've gotten all the legendaries, they've gotten all, literally, the only legendaries that the zombies have are ones from guaranteed packs where it's the Nurse Gargantuars. They've gotten all the legendaries, they've gotten the extra hero that I went out to buy. So all these things are in their favor, but yet they still haven't performed that much better, if at all, than the zombies. So I do think like if I get another hero, right, maybe that's the next thing I'll get is my first zombie hero, because apparently it's impossible to get them from a pack. It's never happened, and so I would get, or yeah, we'll get a hero plant one from the pack just to stick it to us even more. Like I don't even like the zombie style of play as much as the plants. I like the whole, buffing, playing on the board, things like that. Whereas zombies are a little more trick based. I mean, it really depends. There's plenty of aggro zombie decks and stuff too. I'm not like typecasting them by the whole kind because every hero has their own strengths and weaknesses. But the point is that in general, I would like the plant style of play more, but now I've almost become a fan of zombies just because of how much they've been mistreated. The one big thing we're waiting for is obviously Bad Moon Rising, and that'll be the thing that sets us over the top, and then we'll try to make a run for rank 50 if I even have time in a particular month. That would almost be what I would have wanted to do as the finale for this series, because I don't know, this has gone on a lot longer than I would have expected it to. Not that I don't enjoy it, but I mean, it does make me feel bad. If I'm going to play this game for this long, there's a lot of games that I could make series out of. But then again, in such a short form, it's kind of hard, right? I wouldn't want to do it with something that's not like a... You see, card games and things like this are easy to do it with because it's like each game kind of speaks for itself. So you can just go in, play one game, and then get out. Like, and that's the whole experience. Not that I really do that, but it just feels like you can just play a couple rounds, a couple matches. It's different than if you're making like a committed series out of like an actual RPG or some kind of single player game or something like that. Is a lot harder to do. So download should be done. This one just makes me worried that it might stop working for some reason. You do a update to do bug fixes, and that is the bug itself. That's the plant's ultimate weakness, is a bug. Please enter your birth, month, and year to play. Now, considering that I've been playing for this long, what is he going to reset my whole fucking collection? Why would I have to do this if... It's always amusing to see how far... the average player of this game is like fucking 5 years old or something, probably. Now, we've seen this one before as part of the thing, so they do it on some sort of weird rotation. We've seen this plan on this bonus thing in the recent time, right? That's so weird that they would do that one twice, but they're not going on a fixed rotation. Crazy David finished polishing the game. Okay, Queen of Legends. Now, I don't know if that's really the only time you should buy the hero, because I bought the other one outright, just period, because you can just buy them whenever you want. But this might make it better, because you'll get her plus obviously a whole bunch of extra stuff. I wouldn't do it anytime now. I'd wait till I get 1,200 gems, because like I said, I always want at least 500 from Bad Moon Rising. I'm almost to the point where I should save up to 2,000, because on one hand of how badly I want Bad Moon Rising, I'll just get 4 of them, unironically. Or at least I should get like 2 of them or something. I don't know that you would even want more than 2, because as good as it is, it's like with the Dark Matter Dragon Fruit, people said, oh yeah, 2 Dark Matter Dragon Fruits is best. But it's like, as if I had that choice. I just got 2 by sheer luck. I'm not going to complain like, oh haha, I got a 3rd one. Woe is me, what bad luck. Like, I would still use it or whatever. But, I mean, of course I couldn't disenchant it or recycle it, basically. Compost it. So we'll start with Captain Combustible again, but we still go back and forth between the zombies and the plants. But no, that's got to be one of the best RNG luck moments ever, is just getting not only 2 legendaries so early on, but getting 2 out of 4 being the same one, and them that also being one of the best cards in the game, and one of my favorites, arguably, for my whole anti-trick, anti-spell ideation that I normally have in card games anyway. So this you can use on the face. No, you can't. I always think you can use it on the face. Not a zombie, by the way. Okay, is that really worth it, though? Like, that wasn't going to be that big of a deal. We play on the ramp. At some point, this does get a little bit repetitive, just to the extent that, you know, I'm at the mercy of my collection. Sure, I could make other decks with what I have, but nothing really too notable. But this shows you, even with a casual game like this, with as few cards as it has, look at how long it actually takes to build up a proper collection, or, you know, to basically 2/3 when it destroys a plant. You could almost do it this way. Just destroy that and then put this guy back down again. To imagine how slow-paced this would be in any other game, like Yu-Gi-Oh! Or in Hearthstone or in Magic or something, where you build up a collection, free to play, first playthrough. You know, not that you would say no crafting, but I guess in Magic, crafting goes in only one direction, like where you have to... That is very good value of a play. You know, we'll greed for making this guy too good, but then we'll never actually get to play him, because now he's going to clear the board or some shit. But basically, he's ranked 21, so you better watch out. He's got some crazy combo coming. Yeah, just imagine how long it takes in games like that to build up a collection the same way. And then imagine a game like that not having a crafting system to the extent that you'd be able to... I mean, he has no brain, so that should be fine. He'll destroy every copy of that, which sometimes that can fuck me over, but in this case, it barely matters. He should just be dead. Unless he gets... No, but how? Wait, how did he even play that? So that one just cost 0 brains? I'm so confused. He had nothing left. We should still be fine, but... Who knows? Now he'll recover miraculously. You could almost just do it like this, where you buff this guy and then you hit him in the face with this, and that should basically be lethal. Oh, come on, man. It's gonna take him a while to kill me, but at some point I might burn out of damage. That's so stupid. This is why the whole... It's like a loser's mechanic. Like, you get a participation trophy, or you get rewarded for losing. The idea that you get to, you know, not only get saved by the block meter so many times, but you get a card that'll be the perfect thing to deal with for the time. Like, he's not going to kill me, but... I'm relying on this to kill him, so I should almost put something there. But it would have to be this one. But that 2 wouldn't even be enough. I just don't even know. Like, I'm trying not to worry about his board too much. This is so dumb. He's just gonna keep having crowd control. Wow. Wow, dude. You could say maybe this is just the Yeti style of play, but... No, I won't die because you get this. Oh, that could be the finisher because it's happening in such an unexpected way. You triggered my trap card by hitting me in the face in a way that you can't control because everything auto attacks anyway, so you couldn't play around. That's even the biggest thing that sticks it to you. Like, oh, I'm gonna win the next turn if I just don't trigger his block meter somehow, right? Maybe that'll benefit me, but I can't choose not to attack. Oh yeah, why was it saying it? It's never said new before like that. New in what way? Just like new to me? It's not like this one was never there before. It's like a new quest that they added with the update. Yeah, that was at least a good clutch win against a rank 21. Now we go in the opposite direction. Always these unfair matchups. But we could keep all of those, but I'm not the biggest fan of this interaction. Like, it's good, but it's too slow. You don't want to spend turn 3 just doing that and nothing else. A lot of these cards obviously do synergize with the team up to the extent that you'll get 2 from that, or you'll get some other buff, or like even you'll get a quadruple attack from the coffee thing. I like environments in theory, but they're not really that good in practice a lot of the time, or they're just too slow. I'm gonna end up making like a super slow control type of deck just to show that it's possible in this game, because I feel like I've almost never seen anything like that, like where it really goes on for a super long time, not just like, oh, you have a couple of big minions and you win because of that. Because, like, how do you really do it if it's almost like that pot of gold stuff that you put in your deck? All those kind of things are very slow paced that expect the game to drag out. But at some point, you would just kind of burn out a card still. You have to generate a lot of shit. Okay, what is he doing, dude? Thankfully, it worked pretty smoothly, though, at least after the update. You know, that almost makes you wish, like, that update should have been a new expansion of cards that they added, but I guess you can just use mods for that purpose. So we got a little bit fucked over here, actually, because we had nothing to play on turn 1 or turn 3, because this almost doesn't count. I would rather just play a minion of any kind. But Captain Combustible shows at least the value of a hard commit. Like, you know that your collection isn't going to be that good, and you know that, you know, you have your limit, so you may as well just commit to going full aggro, which is basically what this is. Even if you question the presence of a card like this, it's just like, sometimes that can be good because it's sort of aggro countering aggro. You'll just get rid of a lot of their 1/1, you know, 1 health minions that you can just, whatever. You can just hit them in the face then instead. You're not doing it to save yourself from the 1 health minions. You're doing it to just get them out of the way of your shitty attack that you're doing. Have I even ever really seen somebody AFK out the whole game? I feel like normally they'll just disconnect at the beginning if they're going to do it. Or yeah, that'll be some of the best win streaks we've had in this game, is just because several people DC'd back to back. Clearly must be a meta deck if you're using this guy. Which, I mean, it could still be okay in a sports type of deck, but... So I'm not going to worry about playing that until I really have to, because, I mean, it's still way too slow. It is like an aggro-friendly card to the extent that you're summoning all those 1/1s from it, but I still don't think it's really what I want. Yeah, like, this game shows how you how to do an auto-battler the right way, that at least you get to construct your deck and stuff. The way that some of these games, like, how do I hate auto-battlers so much, but I still like this game? And the answer is because, I don't know, like, the way that Hearthstone does it is so stupid. I mean, I guess almost this turn I could do this because... No, I don't want to, though. I'm very willing to just let stuff go at some point. Like, this guy's gonna die, so he served his purpose. He did his 5 damage, so now I'm satisfied. Or whatever. Like, it's, you don't gotta try to hang on to stuff, which is the right aggro mentality. You're only as useful as what little damage you get off the one time. Then I'm not gonna go out of my way to protect you and try to use removal and stuff. But no, like, the auto-battler element of, like, you don't get to choose to attack, when to attack, who to attack. It's just all very much on rails. Limited interaction. Fun and interactive, by the way. But basically what's good about it, this dude is roping like fucking nuts every turn. I don't know what exactly the time they give you either is. Like, probably a minute per move. And I also don't know, like, yeah, how many times you can get away with doing that. Like, could you just rope every move and it wouldn't penalize you? It's not gonna, like, kick you out of the game. I don't think. Like, you have an X number of hourglasses like in Magic the Gathering. This guy doesn't bother me too much if I could just get something. He will almost save it for, like, a turn 7 play. Like, where we do these two together, but it'll be way too late by then. You could put something down and then give it the buff with that, but I almost don't want to. Yeah, see, here's a good use of this. Well, kind of. You'll get Frenzy from that one anyway, so it doesn't really matter. You can do this just to get the maximum amount of damage in there. Those animations always remind me of Crime Site, like where you'll see over and over. I mean, I guess Crime Site doesn't exist anymore, but like where every time he would have a deduction or towards the end of the game, he would like do this crazy animation where, oh, he's deducing this and that. And it would get kind of old after a while, even though I only played the game once for one session. It just felt kind of cheesy that they would do that every single game. It's the same thing here, like where it could get old, but at least this one's super fast. That one was like extremely drawn out. Like the number of times you'll see those animations over the course of the playthrough and you couldn't skip it or anything would get really old. That's why the game died out, because everybody hated that one stupid dumb animation. We should be pretty much dead, but I don't know. Problem with this is it's gonna farm out his block meter still too much. That's going to be a pure greed thing that's also going to give him the block meter as well. Right, like it's not going to kill him because he'll somehow... There is an internal RNG element where he might not get it, but he might get it depending on how much... At the beginning, I always thought it was just based on the amount of damage you were doing. Like if it's above a certain amount. I think people were coming up with all kinds of theories too. Like, oh yeah, it works that way based on damage, or it works based on something else. How many block meters have been expended to that point or something like that. But I don't think it's any of that. This could be a finisher card, but it takes so long to get to that fucking point. All we have to do is get one clean hit, but then he might heal first to flash out the block meter more. Okay, that one's fine. You'll trade in. You can certainly afford to do this. But you should have almost done that a little bit differently, but I guess it doesn't matter. Whatever, I'm almost playing a little bit too safe myself just because I'm hoping to win based on the fact of the triple attack, but then we're not going to have anything out there to use it on. And so we won't even trade into the 3-3. Fuck, now we have the 8 thing that we often have. Why is that even in this deck? That is such a non-Captain Combustible card, but I guess it's like a last resort finisher. All these buffs and things that require minions, but no actual minions there. And now I'm still not going to be able to do it because, or no, you know what could be cool? I don't know if it like these trigger at the same time so the effect won't work. But like you do this and then you get to buff the thing that you just put down, but you don't. So either of those would be enough to kill him. Again, all I need is like one thing to stick, but he's going to have an infinite amount of removal now. Fucking... These aren't very efficient forms of removal, but it doesn't matter now because we're both in top deck mode. That's the whole irony of card games, is sometimes top deck mode can be the most fun thing because it's like, now it really just comes down to making the best of what you have rather than, what the fuck, dude? I mean, I'm questioning why that card's in there, but I guess it's good in that scenario. Obviously wins me the game, but the reality is you never want to play with Captain Combustible in a way that's going to force you to do that. Like, if it comes down to the point where you get to play that, you've already failed. You should have already won by then. You know, most decks are going to beat you at that point. Okay, we don't really need this much of the removal here, but I guess this works. Yeah, this guy is a good card, but it ends up not really being that good in the end because they're just going to use removal on it, so it's almost like a taunt for tricks. So we can go ahead and use this, I guess, but I almost don't even want to. It just seems like a waste, but there's really nothing else to do that turn. You could have just passed it and gone like that. Now we can do this, or we can do another removal plus that. An aggro deck using hard removal like this. Or I guess it's not really hard removal, but yeah, some of these classes don't even have hard removal, like Infinity. Right, the best you have is like a cake that does like 7 damage or something. So you're never going to, or like some rocket, cam rocket thing. Very fitting for St. Patrick's Day coming up. 103 event cards. I mean, that's a very slow play, so I don't imagine that's really going to benefit you. And yeah, it'd be like, if you have any cards in this deck that actually generate minions or generate cards, those will be your highest cost and best quality ones because everything else is going to be just kind of, I mean, I guess you kind of forget that that's a legendary sometimes, but it is good for its purpose. It's just like it'll never stick around for long enough for you to do anything. You could do the environment with that, or you could just do this and a buff. We kind of share the love a little bit here. Let's just get rid of that for the fuck of it. Sometimes I'm using stuff a little bit too flippantly and too early, so at least we will trade into there. The problem with this is, again, his hand is too decked out, but that's what that bonus card thing, obviously, despite how slow it is going to come at the expense of. This guy has won me a number of games with lethal damage. I don't know whether I should almost just do this so this one survives. As much as that seems stupid. Because yes, I could finish it off with that, but it doesn't matter because then this one will die. So it might be overcommitting, but at least it's okay. This 2-2 is just going to hang around the whole goddamn game, too. Sometimes it's good even to leave stuff like that because it's going to block him out. Because, of course, zombies can't team up, even though they come in hordes in the actual games, which is the biggest contradiction of this game. So this is... destroy zombie here with 4 or less. You got the little chicken, not a big deal. You may as well just do this. I mean, that would have almost effectively just done the same thing. Just destroy something, one of these weak guys. I mean, again, we're going against much higher matchups. So when you say like, oh, haha, I've been hard stuck between rank 1 and rank 20 the whole experience, my average opponent is much higher than that. So now this won't actually kill him though. That almost wasn't worth it. You should have saved it for the opportune moment. And I could almost have finished him off with that, but it's not going to be quite enough. You should still do it, I guess. Like, do 2 damage to a random plant. It's gonna be very hard for you to delay the inevitable anymore now. You got 4 mana. You could probably destroy one of these, but I doubt you could destroy both. Okay, that's 2. You might be able to finish off with that. Okay, fine. Hides in a gravestone. It's still okay. Like, surely we'll be able to finish him off. But that's the thing. If you can delay it out a little bit longer, then we'll be screwed. We don't really have much of a finisher. Environments and heights, which we could kind of establish both, actually. Yeah, it's +2/+2. That'll actually trade in, and then that'll actually almost kill you. Do 2 damage to a random plant. Make a mystery egg in a random lane. That wouldn't be one that I would mind getting either. Okay, you're still dead. Yeah, we're farming rank 20s. Man, Captain Combustible the last couple episodes has done really well. In fact, this whole episode might just be him. But no, I almost want to save up like just the maximum amount of gems. But whenever I get to a good threshold, because like I could either get like 4 of the Bad Moon Rising or something crazy. But no, like I said, probably 2. So I'll count 1,000 as the threshold that I should always be at, right? And then I won't start worrying about it till later. So anything above 1,000, then I'll start to spend it. So if I want one of these stupid event cards, I'll have to get to 1,500. But yeah, that guy should almost come up on the event card for Easter. Like, what would Bad Moon Rising have to do? What, like, with what holiday? I almost thought it might come up for Halloween, and somebody said that too, but then it didn't, right? Because I was still playing this, obviously, last Halloween. So maybe it'll come up for, like, when there's daylight savings time, because it has to do with the moon. I don't know. It's just so random. Yeah, we've seen, like, a full rotation of the event card, so how is it possible that we wouldn't have seen that one repeat? They're just throttling it from me. So normally I wouldn't make a point to try to get 2 of them, but it is very good to have. I think 2 makes sense, right? You don't really want more than that probably. But I mean, for all I've gone through to try to get it, I should probably get 4 of them. But this is like the discipline that it teaches you. You should always have that much in reserve so that if something comes up, you can always buy it. And it's not really hurting you too badly, because what am I missing out on? Like, oh, I could buy 10 packs for that much, but who cares at this point? This could be good just for this stupid removal purpose. At the end of the turn, we're in a pretty good board position in most of these games, but obviously at some point you're going to be in a spot where this almost makes it seem like, oh, I have actually a theme and a rhyme and reason, and this is like some kind of meta aggro thing, but it's obviously just the best I can come up with what I have. Okay, see, now you can almost just leave them there, but you really can't because, well, unless I had like team up or something, I could just ignore it. We would miss out on the leafy synergy though, unfortunately. Do 1 damage to all plants and zombies, which I don't know whether I should care about that or not. Destroy a random zombie and make a 1/1 mushroom with team up here. You could do this, but it still wouldn't kill him. That's kind of the problem. This guy is Leafy, isn't he? Leafy. We can do Leafy plus the other Leafy. Let's actually do it like this. Even though I don't really want to cause that thing to go off. Huh, I don't know. You could do this, but the problem is it still won't kill it. But I guess it'll survive. But actually, fuck, it won't. That was a mistake, because now it'll die to the barrel. Or no, it'll kill both, though. Because it will both have... No, it won't, though. I thought it would, and then it wouldn't, because it'll absorb that. So that was a misplay on multiple levels. We should almost have it. It might come down to this thing again, but I don't really want it to. Surfboarder guy doesn't really bother me. See how I'm always at like full health though, because they're so concerned with, you know, just staying alive themselves. I've become a degenerate aggro player, but it's like my last resort. It's not my preference. I'm always somewhere in between with what I like to do. So here we have double this plant strength and health. A little bit too slow paced for my taste. We should almost just go full aggro with this. He has 4 mana, so this makes it too easy of a target almost, where to be a 5/4. Nothing is actually going to matter though. That's all cute, but it's arguably not even going to do anything much for me. Kind of going all in with what we have, which again, he probably can easily deal with the 11/7. He hasn't used any like hard removal the whole game, so... Okay. Like, oh, it's overcommit, just don't do it. But then I really didn't have much else to do anyway. This board is pretty empty though too, so it's only his hand that I'm worried about, because my hand isn't going to be that good now going forward, and obviously this could be the finisher yet again, or I don't even have to worry about it. Fuck it. Very rarely do I see tricks actually be the final blow right in this game, so unless there's some very specific OTK combo, it just isn't a very common outcome. Yeah, we'll save up to at least 1,000, and then I'll have to... I always get tempted to buy something. They're like, oh, then I want to buy a zombie hero, which I was even just talking about. But the problem with that is you're going to... It's going to be kind of like... What do you call it? I'm going to wait till I get like 1750. I mean, if I get a hero, it will definitely be... But no, then I had that rule too that kind of fucks it up. I said I can only buy a hero if I have a legendary for each of their class types, and that can't be possible for a zombie because I only have 1 legendary period. +1/+1 when any kind of goat is hurt. I don't think I've really seen a deck that commits to that idea, where you have like a way to spawn in a bunch of goats or really keep cycling that mechanic. This is pretty good. We'll use the buff. Guard of Tricks, get +1/+1 and moves to a random lane. Yeah, why don't we just not even worry about it then? Okay, even there it's just a fair trade. Like when this works, it looks good, but a lot of the time you're gonna burn out or they're just gonna outlast you. I do have some uncanny ability to like play the same decks in any game too, not just this one, although this has been very much like that, and not get bored of them. I do that so much in Hearthstone. I'll play the same anti-spell thing over and over, Renounce Darkness, because like I just come up with an idea or I play something that I find fun, and then it doesn't matter because the variety comes either more from your opponent or something. That was arguably not even a good thing to do, but any damage is good damage here. Yeah, I end up not really using this very much. It just gives you something to play if you have nothing else that turn. Which I almost would rather still buff this, even if it seems like a waste. Or that's fine too. But see, now you'd want to do this and then do that on there, but it just is too slow. That doesn't really scare me. So we'll go here. I'm just all about board presence, board control, regardless whether I'm playing as aggro or or mid-range or control or anything. Even control decks often move away from that over the course of a game's lifespan. Like, it'll start off and, oh, control involves summoning like big minions on the board with effects and stuff like that, right? You get to the end game and you play some crazy shit. Although that kind of crosses over into mid-range at times. Like, that's the whole dream of a mid-range thing that almost resembles like anime moments from Yu-Gi-Oh or something. Like, the whole mid-range dream is like, oh, I'm gonna summon my blue eyes white dragon, and then I'm going to fucking, you know, beat you with that. It's not like a crazy minion that has some crazy effect. It's just a strong minion. So if you can get to the point where you let me play it, then it's just too strong for you to deal with, and I just win. But of course that removes the possibility of them having any basic removal to just use on it, which is sort of anticlimactic in the context of a show like that. You go through all that to summon blue eyes, like, oh, I just use hammer shot on it, oh, I just use smashing ground on a dragon that can fly, like whatever it is just sort of kills the whole momentum of it. There could be a whole bunch of memes like that, like, oh, this crazy epic moment from Yu-Gi-Oh, and oh, I just use a simple removal on it and it's no big deal. That's why at least even the god cards are immune to stuff like that. Destroy the planets with 2 or less, which, wait, or what was it, 3 or less? This game needs a backlog because I'm not paying attention half the time. Yeah, man, Captain Combustible is tearing it up. And so this is not too bad. I forget always when the season restarts, but it's somewhere randomly, like before the end of the month. This will be actually the Captain Combustible episode. I even gave them that credit in the title. Like, I didn't know for sure how this was going to go, but I said, you know, oh, now that the plants are starting to do really well. Finally, though, it's about time with how much of a good collection we actually have. Even as much as I sometimes complain about the collection, like, oh, you know, free to play, no crafting, first playthrough, blah, blah, blah. You kind of have to make the best of what you have, which I kind of enjoy that more. It makes it like a roguelike Nuzlocke kind of experience, to the extent that you're basically able to, you know what, I'm going to save the other one because I had nothing else to play that turn anyway, so you may as well save the 1 cost. But yeah, it makes it more dynamic, where you could obviously just metagame and build a certain way, like, oh, you should use this card, and it's like, sure, I should, but I don't have it, and I can't get it. I'll never craft it unless I, you know, just happen to get it from a... What the fuck, man? I guess I'll ignore it for now, but I could at least get rid of it pretty cheaply there. The Poison Ivy has actually been pretty good to me, where I always underestimate it because it seems like a waste. It's a 3-mana 1/3, but it's fine. The 1/1 doesn't scare me at all. I'm almost using it in a cheese way, like, oh, I'll just use my... I'll use it just to help me farm out the block meter thing. So that's fine. You got 2 mana left. Yeah, this game sort of shows you the value of sort of a sense of style that the series has, and also just, you know, it has some good mechanics, but I would almost say it doesn't have enough of them. Like, in a way, I kind of like that too. There's a certain novelty to it, but it kind of feels like, let's go all face is the place, but he's gonna have something else to deal with that, I guess. It's like, you know, you'll have a cool mechanic, but you only have like one thing that has it. Like, oh, having armor is cool, and there's only one thing in the whole game that has more than 1 armor, which is like the Night of the Living Dead thing, which you can either play itself by itself or with the king. But I mean, the point is that it's like all the mechanics are sort of underutilized, to the extent that, okay, this we can easily get rid of, and I can also do an extra attack, and I can also fucking buff it, and then it's also going to get 2 more attacks, but it won't matter because of the stupid ass block meter that everybody loves so much. So I'm kind of playing a little bit dangerously with my own. This is the problem. It'll absorb like both hits. That's the problem. Look at this hard commit, but there's nothing else really to do. Let me guess. You'll have some crazy removal card. Or no, it actually doesn't work like that. Never mind. Why did I think... No, you know what works like that? If they trigger the block meter, if you have team up and 2 things in the same lane that attack at the same time, then it'll negate both, like the Velociraptor thing, or Velociradish, whatever the fuck it's called. So they'll both hit you, but the first one triggered the block meter, but the second one doesn't get the damage through. So it doesn't work like that with double strike. Yeah, totally fair and balanced matches, by the way. Almost like they punish you for being on a win streak, but I guess this always happens no matter what. Like, that's insane. It's one thing, okay, there are a few ranks above you, and it's a small price to pay if that means that's why you get such quick queue times, or why the game seems so active, because, like, who is really playing this game so much in 2024? Why is this game so popular? I don't get it. It says me who's playing it, but, like, how is it this active all the time? That no matter what time of day, could be early in the morning, could be late at night, because I stream at such erratic times, you always just have people playing it. And I almost believe it a little bit, although not really, because it has like a passionate player base and fan base that we always encounter in the context of streaming it. You would almost think like, oh, that's why I've streamed it, or that's why I played it for so long, but it's really not. It was just kind of a bridge in the gap, but these take too long. Like, I was done playing Yu-Gi-Oh! Because I got kind of bored of it between Master Duel and Dueling, so then I didn't know what to do next. And so then I said, I'll do this as part of like a permanent gauntlet thing. Or it was kind of a combination of that. It was a combination of sort of being done with Yu-Gi-Oh! And sort of not knowing what to play, and also doing the permanent gauntlet and needing a break. So I did this after Overwatch to see like, oh, this will be the next step in my permanent gauntlet, and I'll just play as like every hero until I lose, and that'll be the end of it. But I thought, oh yeah, I'll just unlock all the heroes real quick, and even if I spent all my gems so far in this playthrough on that purpose, I still wouldn't have been able to do that. Oh, you know, I kind of fucked up, but actually this is fine. This will still trade in exactly as planned. But yeah, if you basically feel like yeah, they'll give you that one for Halloween, but not Bad Moon Rising. It's just way too transformative and impactful of a card. Like, no matter what anybody says, that's kind of a gross animation. He's just spitting his candy at you. I should analyze some of these animations more. You know, those are two things this game does very right. Like the sense of style, personality, things like that. The visuals, especially, are much more satisfying than most card games. Like, that is actually unironically true. Despite how much I like Hearthstone and all these other games, the one thing I can say for sure is that the visuals of this game actually beat out a lot of other ones, to the extent that, wait, what? Doesn't matter, right? Just the sense that you don't really feel as much like you're playing a card game is maybe the best way to describe it. This is how coronavirus started, haha. I like how those two theories were sort of at odds with each other too. Like, oh, it started in a lab in Wuhan, and also it started with a bat, just some random bat. But why couldn't it be a bat that was messed with and modified in a lab in Wuhan, and then it got out, or somehow the thing spread from there? So it could, two things can be true. It's like, oh, conspiracy theory, or you think, oh, a bat started it. Maybe it did. Like, there's a little bit of truth in a lie. Like, it did start with a bat, but that bat was modified genetically somehow in a lab and fucked up, instead of it just being some random bat that happened to exist in nature on its own, doing that. And now we're probably going to lose this one, actually. Zombies here have Hunt. I mean, I don't know what to really do with that. You could say you should block it, but Bullseye, Overshoot, Frenzy, Armored, Antihero. Look, obviously they've got some good shit, but I can't use that as an excuse when I've been on such a good win streak. There wouldn't really be much of a win condition here unless I do some crazy finisher, which I'm not going to get here. You might have said, you know, block it there, but it felt like I was going to lose no matter what anyway. So this is what you get to see with the value proposition. Like, if you just... Fuck, if only I had the block meter to save me there. Okay. Wouldn't have even mattered still. But no, if you can just outlast me to that extent, then... Yeah, Captain Combustible these last two episodes has been on fire, pun intended. Actually very impressive. So that's not too bad. And the zombies will give the smash the first shot all the time, just because he does have some of those cool, like, let's actually look at it. He has a lot of good high cost things. Okay, no, it's not okay at all. I don't approve of such tactics. Although, I mean, again, how can you complain? Like, of all the games that I play for long periods of time, a lot of them are free, and a lot of them I don't spend anything on, any money on, even if everyone else does. Like, as much as people might bitch, oh, this game's pay to win, at least to the extent that some cards are locked. Although it seems like very few cards are locked behind that, right? Some of the heroes are kind of, but even those you can get in a pack randomly at some point. And then, like, the what was that one thing? I can't remember. It's some weird kitchen sink bundle or something. Apparently you can only get that card that way, which I don't even understand how that makes sense. Why would they just randomly do it with, like, that one? Right, kitchen sink zombie, but you can craft it, can't you? Even that's not true, then you can craft it. Maybe it's something else. There's at least one card that somebody was saying they're pretty sure is like, yeah, whatever. This is like you can only get it by paying money. But yeah, even like the two heroes, like Huge-Gigantacus and the other, whatever it is, you can still get them. It's just a lot harder to do. So this one is going to be where you have a lot of good high cost things, even though it only goes up to 6 and 7, which most things in this game don't really go that much higher. The ultimate paradox is a game where you get over 10 base resources. Like, you know, a lot of games will stop out at 10 if it's an auto generation thing. So you go every turn you gain 1 resource up until turn 10, and then it's over. But now here it goes up to 15, or I forget even, because the games don't usually go on even past turn 7, turn 8, which is why I never get to play Dark Matter Dragonfruit. But the point is that basically it's a game where it goes over 10 on the base counter, but there are very few cards that are even up there. Not even over 10, but even like 7, 8, 9. There's very few high cost cards, so it almost feels pointless. You're going to be playing double and triple of these every turn. And I'm the type of guy who would use this by itself as a static play. 7 mana 5/5 with armor 2, which seems good, but it's so much better if you get it from the other guy, the king. But no, here we have, you know, the 2 nurses, which we got from that guaranteed pack that, you know, gives you only him. So it's not like, oh, we got lucky with these legendaries. This was an event card. The other event card we got was we've gotten a couple now, actually. We got the mushroom for the plants. We got the one that does 2 damage every time they play a trick. And then we also got the one for Infinity, the Frankenstein Gargantuar. And we possibly got even one more. But no, I like this card a lot for its stat value. So we have a decent mid-range game here. At least, again, in the context of this game not really being so top-heavy in the first place. But which ones do we actually have? Frankenstein and football. So we got those 2. And then I think we obviously just only got one here recently. The magic mushroom guy. Or I guess more like the anti-magic mushroom. Or this one just mentions it, I think. Or wait, what? Why does it say... What? Wait, why does that show up on the event card? Or what did I type in? But yeah, we got that. There aren't even that many event cards in the game. This is why I'm so confused by it. Like, which ones have we not seen show up on there? I feel like I maybe haven't seen the garlic, also known as the onion as I would always call it. This one has some really innuendo-friendly imagery to it. Like, I get it, but I mean, you're dealing with nuts. In that exact visual formation is very questionable to me, but let's see. Yeah, none of these I would really even want. The only one that really feel this one's kind of cool, but I mean, again, anything that's low cost, even anything for plants, I shouldn't make a point to do because, like I said, the plants have already been spoiled. Some plants get watered and some plants bathe in wine, and that's what we've had with this. But yeah, any of these kind of high cost ones. Oh no, but those aren't even event cards. Never mind. Yeah, when you look at how few there are and how long I played this game for, it's almost like a mathematical anomaly. Like, there's less than 52, let's say, so 52 weeks in a year. I played this game for over a year. Even if Bad Moon Rising was one of the first things I saw in the event card, they're doing some weird throttle system where they just don't want to give it to you, where it's like, you know, I've seen it one time, and I obviously didn't have enough gems for it at the time, and I underestimated how good and how important and how one of a kind really it would actually be. Let's try to get just to rank 10 at least, or whatever. We'll just play as a Smash, since Captain Combustible took up most of our time, which is a good thing. Obviously, he went on a good streak. Yeah, see, this almost makes it look like we're worse than we actually are. like our collection or performance or whatever, we could obviously get to rank 20 as I was doing those 2 months in a row, right? It's not like that's an issue. It's just that I don't play enough. You know, 4 hours in a month, which is still a decent amount, like an average of an hour a week, just once a week that I play it. You would really have to commit to it. I would have to play this instead of like playing chess, how I do off stream, just to try to catch up and make progress to try to get to rank 50. But yeah, it's hard to even do these sort of season finales or series finales and things like that, just because of the fact that we're able to I arguably should have done the flag one there, but somehow I was just too tempted to try to get rid of that. Reusing the same goddamn appearance for that. You only have like 400 cards in the game, or whatever number of cards, less than 1,000 for sure, and yet you're reusing portraits like that. Yeah, you want the minions to have like they really have a presence in the... Now they'll cost 1 less, which means you should be able to do this. I hear you like the flag zombie, so I use a flag before comment here. It might still be worth it for the short term, or actually this... You play a plant. I don't know what I'm even trying to do, really. But that does stack, too, so you can actually get stuff to start costing 0. Heal 2, okay. I've always had like a bit of a vendetta against Solar Flare, just because everybody always was so hot for her and said she was so good at the beginning that I've almost been trying to prove them wrong a little bit when I go against them, or even when I use her. I've not been that impressed, but I get it. It'll be in like a more meta-specific sense. You can't use that to judge the hero overall, right? Just because you happen to have a particular deck that is... I was almost trying to play this one a little bit too aggro, which I shouldn't really have done. Okay, that one's still fine. Or I could have played something else, but there was nothing else really to save for. Yeah, now I could play this guy for 4. Plant tricks cost 2 more, which again, I love effects like that. That's actually probably the main reason I got him, but he's also high cost. That was almost my rule. It has to be a zombie card, even though I broke that with the stupid mushroom, right? Just because it was anti-spell and I kind of just felt like splurging on it. But then also, man, he's going to keep this thing around forever. It won't be a hatchling anymore by the time this game is over. I should almost just do this, but... Or no, now I don't have to worry because I can just do this. Trying to trade into it sort of efficiently, but he's just not letting me do it. But no, it's like... You would... I don't know, I forgot what I was saying. Okay, they're playing out everything, so I don't know what I can do, really. May as well just do that when you have the extra mana. Or sometimes it could be a mind trick not to play it when you can, just to bait them into thinking so they can overcommit, like, oh, he didn't have a healer, he would have used it. But then when you get low, then you actually do. Probably playing with 4 less. I don't know. I mean, I could do that to save my own guy, but it's not like my guy is that valuable, and those heals could get a little bit annoying later on. But no, you can't really judge a hero's overall value by like how good they are in the meta or in a particular deck. I look at things more broadly, like, you know, how are they at every level along the way, or every, especially when you're like a new sort of player, you'll be climbing up the thing. So like, oh, Rose can be really good, but you wouldn't want Rose as a starter player because she's going to be garbage, because you need like an exact specific meta control crazy stupid thing to make her work. You need like probably super rare cards and an exact very specific set of cards together, synergies and all this kind of crazy shit that you just don't want to worry about otherwise. So this one should kill it, but I almost don't even care. This guy's always sticking around for a little bit, and yeah, see, at least you have to pay the price for that. They have burned out our cards pretty much, so I don't even want to do that. I'll wait if they summon something bigger, because they're obviously going to die to their own effect here. Ironic. She could save others from death, but not herself, as in obviously healing the hero the whole time, but not herself. I might actually lose this, even though you do have some good high cost things in here. I don't get them when I really need them. I'm trying to wait to see if they summon something actually big. It's very satisfying in this game. That's the one thing I do like about it a lot, is the whole mid-range style that I go for. When you do summon something big, it feels very impactful, because yes, there's removal, but there's not too much, and yes, there's I don't know, other ways to deal with it and just drag the game out. But when you do summon something big like, oh, dark matter dragon fruit, it really does feel like, wow, the game's over, or it's really hard for them to overcome that. So it can be really hard to get to the point where you can play them, because a lot of the games are over by then, or you can't play it comfortably. But it does kind of at least embody that, which is sometimes what happens early on in the lifespan of a card game. Like, yeah, in early Hearthstone you could do that. I'm sure in early Magic you could do that. Early Yu-Gi-Oh was all about that. But everybody wants to roleplay as Kaiba and say, oh yeah, we're summoning our Blue Eyes White Dragon. But the whole thing with this is that this game is still in its early development phase, even though it's been out for so long, and it might go offline soon, because it was never really added where they put in like so many cards or so many expansions, right? Like the state this game is currently in after all the time it's been out is still the same amount or even fewer maybe cards than some games have at their launch, or the amount that they add in the course of a single year between all their expansions every couple months. So in a way I kind of like that from a purity perspective. Like it's always, I'm always a fan of stuff like that. Like I want the game to stay in the same state forever, and just kind of that way I can take my time and have whatever experience with it that I want, keep it as sort of fresh as possible for me. Well, I guess I don't know how to explain it. Like you want it to be in a consistent state, so you can just kind of mess around with it without everything being pulled out from under you all the time. But the thing about that is, for fuck's sake, like we do have high cost things in here. This is not an aggro deck. But the thing with that is, I'm not going to be a blind apologist sort of for it in that way either. Like it wouldn't have hurt for them to add expansions either, and then they could always just have a mode that lets you play like classical mode or like some older format. Which sadly Yu-Gi-Oh games never have that, so it becomes very annoying. And it does damage and survives. I mean, it's gonna survive no matter what there. So he just doesn't seem to be able to deal with this, but this would have been exactly the time, speaking of like it being satisfying to summon big minions, this would have been a satisfying time to do it. Like you outlast them the whole game, you both kind of burn out, now you're both in top deck mode, and then I top deck my nurse or my whatever. If we lose a game in dramatic fashion, I could make that joke like, I forget when I originally said it, but like, we thought we needed a nurse, but we actually needed a priest. Like, I think with Doc Rivers or something with the Bucks, it's like, Giannis said we thought we needed a... Okay, we can just kill you with that. I thought we needed a Doc, but we actually needed a priest to save us. Oh, now we get it. Like, and I could have still... like, I could afford to play it, but it doesn't matter. Yeah, we have 12 brains and nothing to do with it. Like, how often is that going to come into play? Like, you get a free guff experience with this game. We have almost 1,000 already, so that'll be our Bad Moon Rising reserve currency. So you can treat 1,000 as the new 0, because I'm never going to do it. There's no way I'm going to get to 300 this time. Deal 20 a solar flare. We're not even playing a solar flare. Yeah, whatever that update did, I don't even know, really. Or maybe they'll fix the bugs to do with playing against your friends, because you never are able to really do that. Rank 36. So at least it's a couple weeks into the thing, right? I can't remember exactly. It's at least 2 weeks into the season, or maybe 3. So even these very good, very experienced players are not exactly at rank 50 yet. PvP God, level 1 rank Walnut. That's the height of trash talking in multiplayer gaming, is saying trash talking you for your rank in PvZ heroes. I'm dead. But it shouldn't be that hard, because again, a lot of these matchups, you just need to use a deck that's a little bit better than what I'm doing. But a lot of these matchups I'm getting are pretty high anyway. Like if we're beating rank 30s and we're playing rank 40s and stuff, that's almost what the ladder experience would look like, which is pretty rare. Most games aren't going to give you that in a ranked ladder. Like, you won't see what a rank 40 looks like until you get to rank 40 yourself. But this game just says fuck it. So we get to rank 10. Captain Combustible sort of stole the show. Smash wins that one there. Yeah, we could buy a hero, but I would never ever do that. And like I said, probably 2 Bad Moon Risings would be adequate, so I might just sit at this threshold until I get more. But yeah, let's see what other cards are like kind of ones that jump out. I'm very happy that I got the disco ball thing. That is a very fun card. See, there's so many of these fun interactions that in most games you never really get to see them play out. That happens with a lot with my theme decks in Hearthstone. Like, it's this cool, fun interaction if you really get to see it. But then you'll lose before you ever do, or you might even win before you ever get to see it. Like some kind of crazy Iron Juggernaut flip thing, or the fucking, even what's that meme card, like Mimiron's head, and all these different things. So this game at least benefits from that a little more. Like, you have some cool fun interactions and you might get to see them a lot more often because that's just the nature of the game. There isn't as much crazy stuff and removal and things to really push the game out, drag the game out. And so when you get a cool interaction, you typically will either win because of it, or at least you get to see it play out without getting removed right away or something like that. So, but even then, you sometimes still don't get to fully see it. So that shows you in some games it just becomes impossible because the game gets sort of bloated. They don't always have high cost cards, but when they do, they're all fucking legendaries. Like, there is a great overlap with that. Galactic super rare. Destroy all plants and zombies on the ground. But the Zombot guy just destroys everything, period, doesn't he? So that's what kind of makes him a little bit busted. He should at least be restricted, like destroy everything on the ground. Destroy all plants. Like, that's such a bullshit effect, especially when you compare it to the other one. What's the other? The 7 cost thing that flips everything back, right? How does that make sense? So for 7 mana, you're bouncing everything only on the ground. So it's worse in 2 ways, in 3 ways. You're summoning a 9/9 for only 2 more, and you're destroying everything instead of bouncing them, and it's everywhere instead of just on the ground. So, like, that puts that card to shame. Like, I get that it's just a better card, but it doesn't have to be that much better. It's not restricted in any way. It's not like a lower value, like, oh, it's only a 9 mana 5/5, but it has this crazy effect to make up for it. Or it's only stuff on the ground, or it only bounces them, or anything else. Like, what the fuck? What happened between... What is that one even called? What happened between the design of this and that? Like, they designed the Zombot stomp, but then when this guy stomps, he does something else entirely that's far better. 1000, so that must have been Zombot 500 or Zombot 0 or some shit. Yeah, there aren't enough high cost cards really, which in a way is kind of good for someone like me because I am not going to benefit from them anyway. Also, I have 2 Dark Matter Dragon Fruit, so how does that work? But that was obviously just a complete fluke thing. That is one of my probably most famed RNG moments in all of gaming history, card gaming history especially. Like, you can't really quantify that. How do you get 2 of the same? How do you get 2 legendaries that early? How do they happen to be the same card? How do they happen to be one of the best cards in the game off all the legendaries that you could have gotten, and one that I even like, you know, personally, the effect of? You might think, oh, of course you like it because it's just so good, but the real effect that I like isn't anything else other than the tricks costing 6 more. A way to sort of be like, oh, I'm anti-tricks even without needing untrickable, because again, that's another mechanic that they don't utilize a whole lot. They have so many good fun mechanics, but you only have a few cards that represent each, which again, in a way that's kind of good so you don't get overshadowed by power creep, where there's like 50 different versions of basically the same card, where they just start getting better and better over time, because that's what happens with card ideas and bloat. So there's only 3 untrickable cards. At least it makes them very noteworthy and satisfying to use, but then there is some negative flip side to it. So yeah, I wouldn't even be able to get a zombie hero the way I was talking about, because again, I have that condition that I'm only allowed to unlock one if I get a legendary of each of their types, and I don't have that. So what type is the Smash even? Like Hardy or something? The nurse guy. This is... He is a Beastly. So what would that restrict us to? Because that would still count towards it. Which one of these are Beastly? But then we would still need something else to fill it in. Michael Jackson's Beastly. The Yeti's obviously Beastly. The Immortica. I do like how those 2 look. Immortica and Neptuna. Why wouldn't she be Beastly too? I guess because she deals with fish instead. Recycle my extras? No, I'm not going to do that, because this is like... Since I'm not crafting, I'm doing that just to show like that I'm not even doing that mechanic. Although it has given me a certain amount of that dust or whatever it's called anyway, because I've never done that myself. Or no, wait, it's just... I don't know if I have a total of it. Like, where would it show me? If I go to craft this... Yeah, like I have 615, but I've never done anything to get it. Yeah, I have no use for that mechanic because I'll never craft anything.